Okay, so you just saw me build a sandblaster. The last time I saw you, you saw me disassemble and clean my suspension. Why did I do that? Because I had to send out my struts to get rebuilt through KW. When I initially took them off in my first disassembly video, you might have seen the terrible rebound on the rear shock and the fronts were squeaking very badly. So I did some research, and actually since I bought the KW V1s new, they come with a warranty, and through KW's wonderful customer service, I was able to get them sent in and rebuilt, or that's what I thought, until they emailed me back saying that they gave me all new. So here I have all new struts, front and rear. All I have to do is just pair them with those components, and I have pretty much brand new suspension. And you also saw me unbox my new drive shaft. That is from Drive Shaft Pro, which is a drive shaft shop out in California. I was recommended to them by a friend on Instagram. I was given very specific instructions to speak to Armando. I spoke to Armando. I gave him the measurements that I needed for the 6-speed swap. I'll leave them right here for anybody that is 6-speed swapping their E36. And within the time of ordering, I had it to my doorstep that week. So I'm super excited and super thankful that I have the drive shaft taken care of. I was planning on everything else being in the car and just me taking measurements and waiting on that as the final piece for the car. But now it's just up to me about how fast I can clean and order everything else for the car. Speaking of, let me walk you through my to-do list of what I have left to get this car back on the road. Number one is the transmission. The 6-speed has been sitting on the ground ever since I got it, untouched, and I'm still waiting to send it to Rogue Engineering. Kind of a refresh of what I'll be doing there is detents, input seals, output seals, and a bell housing swap. That will make it a true Getrag 6-speed and take it away from that SMG. Next, I have to take my brakes off and send them out. I haven't told you this yet, but I'm getting my brakes rebuilt and refinished by the Rebuilt Caliper headquarters of America. I also have Alden's right here because he's doing the same with me, so there's kind of pressure on me to get the calipers off the car and sent out. Aside from those two things, I have to clean the rest of everything I have. With the sandblaster, I can kind of show you what this does. So this is a piece that goes right behind the X-brace, and here's what it looked like originally. It was black with some rust on it, and this is after I sandblasted it. Now I'm not using sand, I'm using glass. I believe it's 80 grit, and it's tiny pieces of glass that aren't super abrasive, but it's abrasive enough to take the paint and surface rust off of most things. As you can see, this leaves a much nicer finish for me to be able to put coating or paint over instead of sanding this down and taking forever. Now the cabinet is actually big enough to fit things like a whole trailing arm, the entire subframe, aside from the control arms, the X-brace, and any piece of hardware that I will be reusing. Obviously not the diff bolts, don't reuse your diff bolts, but it's super nice to have the ability to take the factory paint and or rust off of things and just have a fresh slate, brake clean it, and have a nice canvas for some new undercoating. I'm planning on using POR 15 for most of the things I will be doing, such as things that were already black, the main part of the diff cover, and I'm willing to see how far I can go with those trailing arms. I really don't want to go all the way of disconnecting the axles and stuff, but that's to come later. Some other cleaning things I have to do are really the car. The main purpose of me wanting to take everything out was to clean the underside of the car itself. Now, I would go the dry ice route, but obviously the car can't move right now, and there are some mobile guys around me, but I really don't feel like paying for that right now, especially if I can do it myself. I've read up on a bunch of different forums and posts about how you can use Simply Green, gasoline, brake cleaner, all this type of stuff, so you will be watching me trial and error, see what works, see what doesn't. It's pretty dirty under there, and I wish I had the ability to use a pressure washer in here. I don't, and it kills me because my day job is detailing, so I use a pressure washer all day, except for when I actually really need to clean something, I can't use one. It just doesn't make sense to use water in here, and I think I'll be able to manage with some microfiber and some stiff brushes, but we'll see. After all the cleaning is done, it's just reassembly. So basically a reverse of what you already watched me do. If you haven't already, go watch it, but with all new shiny parts that will not only make it look, but feel brand new. Some miscellaneous items that I definitely still have to buy are the window trim. As you can see, it's not in the best condition, along with my seat mounts. which are rusty and old. And I think some new seat mounts and sliders will definitely update this interior. I know I'm definitely missing some things, and it might not sound like a lot, but I have a lot in front of me, and it is pretty overwhelming looking in this corner over here and seeing how much is on the ground, and the fact that all of it is still dirty. But that's what this is here for. It's a project. It doesn't happen overnight. So I apologize on the lack of the video the past few weeks. I really haven't been here. It's been kind of cold and I don't really have anything to do. Even though I have a lot to do, I'm just putting it off. So now I'm gonna attack the brake calipers, see if I can get those off and get those sent out, because that's really number one on the list. It takes the most time. It takes around 30 to 40 days for them to go to California, get stripped and coated and rebuilt and sent back. So next up is the transmission, and while that stuff is out, I will be cleaning everything. Once everything is clean, what can be undercoated will be, and I'm not really sure what to do with the car yet. I might match that OEM yellow tint on the bottom. I might do a black. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see how far I can go with getting it clean, along with the oil pan and stuff to kind of get all that oil out of there. Oh, and one more thing. I forgot that I already recorded this, but I mashed my thumb pretty hard, as I'm sure you already saw, and the diff has no remorse. This bushing is still in because I'm kind of scared to go attack it again, but those come out easy. I have to take the bushings out of the subframe still, and I still have to take the control arms off of the subframe. Oh yeah, and two more things for disassembly that I forgot to mention. The control arms, which I never took off, and if you watched my disassembly videos, you would understand. And my clutch and flywheel. The clutch and flywheel really aren't that important right now, but the front control arms are, because they're a pain in the ass to reach the middle bolt that goes up through the front subframe. I can't figure out how to get those, and I really want to take my front rotors off. They've been sitting on jack stands ever since I took my suspension off, and obviously I have to take my calipers off right now, so I just want it out of the way, but the control arm has to come off for that because the control arm to the hub bolt is seized on, so I'll figure that one out once it's off the car, but I kind of just want them out of the way, so I have to take the front control arms off still. That's another thing. So again, it's just piling and piling and piling up, so stick around, see what happens, go through this with me. I'm in it with you, so let's do it.